Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Mee. I am the head of partner development, VC, and investment relations here at Near Foundation. I don't really probably need to really explain what Near is, since you probably have 4 hours of listening to that here today. So I think we'll get into today's topic of why enterprises and institutions need to start using agents. Right? I think on today's simple chat, we have two very different types of companies. And so maybe we'll start and let them introduce themselves and kind of their background as well as their company itself. Maybe we'll start with Wooster.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you guys. My name is Wooster. I'm a community lead at Hashed. For those of you who's not familiar with Hashed, we are a venture capital that is focused on Web3. And we are based in San Francisco, Seoul, Bangalore, Singapore, and now we're expanding to Abu Dhabi. And my role at Hashed, as a community lead, I do connect the dots between the portfolio companies so that they can create synergies within our umbrella and try to create good partnerships for our portfolio companies in the meantime.
Hey everyone, my name is Gbenga Omosuyi. I'm the head of strategic partnerships at BitGo. What does that mean? That means everything high ROI, high impact engagements for our business verticals. And of course, for those of you who are not familiar with BitGo, BitGo is probably the largest custodian, independent and qualified custodian in the world. We have over $100 billion in assets under custody. We offer wallet infrastructure, custody, staking, trading, and settlement out of our cold storage. Today we support over 30 L1s, including Near, I might add, 1,200 tokens and counting. Innovation doesn't stop at BitGo, and the most two recent tokens we supported are Oasis, which is the GameFi chain, and BitTensor TAO. So we're really souped about the AI space and supporting it from an infrastructure space. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Glad you added that point that Near is also integrated. I think otherwise I don't think you'd be speaking here today. Just kidding on that. But realistically, I think one thing that made me realize while you guys were describing your companies is the fact that I didn't know how large and global, I forgot how large and global Hashed was, right? And just I think we're pretty lucky today to have basically two leads from two entities that basically, one of the largest Korean VC funds as well as very global as well. So what's your guys' take in terms of, I guess, within the AI agents, right? What excites you the most? I think that word has been really thrown around a lot in the last few months, and everyone says agent this, agent that, agent token this, agent token that, and so would love for you guys to really talk about what you guys are excited about and what you guys are seeing. So maybe we'll start with Gbenga.
Yeah, outside of managing my Denver calendar, I think the two areas I really care about. One is really improving the user experience in Web3 and what AI agents can do for that. And then I come from a finance background, so Agent Fi, so sorry I'm using it, but Agent Fi, which is really just seeing AI agents integrated into DeFi, sort of like an intelligence layer over the global flow of value, and driving AI use cases around trading strategies, liquidity management, portfolio management.
Okay. For me, I guess just put it in a simple term, I think composability of the AI agent is probably the most exciting part. It's been a while that we've been using a lot of LLM services like OpenAI and Claude and stuff like that. So basically it changed how we interact with information, right? Our ability, throughout human history, our ability really came from information collection to information processing. And now in this era, information processing is already being changed through AI. So, what implies in this is that, I think I see a lot of AI agents being built, being able to execute certain actions above the information processing. So that means that would allow me to do trade or book a calendar or anything. It's something that Siri has been doing, but in so much more seamless and intelligent manner. So I think that would change our digital interactions throughout the days. And why should I not be excited about that?
So I think what both of you guys are also saying is the fact that we're still very early, right? And what I kind of compare this to is, I don't know if you guys play video games or not, but before we had like Nintendo, and if you compare that to what computer games are now, like it's completely like not even comparable, right? And I think that's similar to kind of where we are now, is we're testing these points and these ideas for agents, low-hanging fruit being easy transactions, trades, scraping socials for what hot topic is something that you really want to learn more about or invest in or really jump on, right? And so I think it's always the first phase of having initial tech, and in this case agents, to really do that low-hanging fruit. But then we use that word so widely that we think we're already there, but in reality I think it's still very much in the early stages. Both of your guys' companies are really two completely different realms, one being more investor, one being more of an institutional service provider. I guess, how do you guys see agents, AI agents, really changing your guys' day-to-days or kind of what you guys expect in the next 5 to 10 years?
For me, I think just day-to-day operations is rather easy. Just translating a document to different languages has always been quite an issue, because we have very global offices with different linguistic capabilities within the team. And I think the advance of AI agents kind of made it so much better in terms of communications. Another aspect of that is probably doing the research, right? So we used to have a lot of interns just doing the research and to follow with the trend, given that this crypto market has crazy hectic speed of having the new trend, new narrative. The meme coin was crazy. Now with AI agents, I think it's much easier if I just set the right parameter for that so-called alpha gathering through AI agent. It's not just confined to VCs. I think it would apply to a lot of retail users and day-to-day like crypto traders as well in the coming days. Yeah, and I think not implemented right now, and not sure if we're going to plan for that. But if Bridgewater by Ray Dalio, in his book, he said even back in like 1990s and early 2000s, he used computer algorithms to make decisions, to make more rational decisions in the market. And now that AI agents are actively being discussed to get into the market and do like more instantaneous trading, I think it would have potential to make some of the important decisions that we don't want our emotions or fear to be infiltrated and kind of taint the decision. So that should be some of the part that would quite be exciting to explore in the future.
Sounds a bit scary. But and just last point is, are you guys already utilizing that within your day-to-days now, or not?
No,
not really.
Yeah.
No.
But it's just possibilities as AI agents gets developed and more private, so that we don't fear this decision does not affect any like market manipulations or anything.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, very similar. Early days, so we're exploring it, but any data flow any processor that is data intensive is definitely areas where we think AI agents can play a role. So whether it's streamlining, HR processes or financial planning, sales campaigns, that sort of a thing, or understanding, what's going on in the market, or areas like high level like think. And then from, our core business, so on the custody side, maybe use cases around wallet security, risk management for our trading platform, or some of the areas we think that, agentic, AI agents can sort of like come in. But again, still very early days, but we're fully supportive of it.
So knowing that it's quite early and knowing that it's constantly changing, how are you guys staying on top of it? And how do you view, like, if I'm not reading news for basically a week, I feel like I'm already out of the known, right? Like forgot about a new large language model or a new foundational model that is now better and cheaper and things like that. Like, are you guys actually looking at it a lot and keep making sure you keep up on the data and the updates? Because I think it is difficult.
We're plugged into the conversations, right? I'm here. We have a good relationship with Near, and we have an ecosystem fund that talks to a number of folks who are building in this space. And so we're definitely staying attuned and abreast of developments in the space. And you need to do that if you want to remain competitive, if you want to optimize your business processes. And of course, there's the other side, which we haven't really touched on, but the ethical considerations around AI and how we as good, good actors, there's the word, wanted to make sure that we're aligned from an ethical perspective as well.
I think that's the point I was trying to get Gbenga to really highlight, is that I think if you don't innovate and you don't actually follow along, I mean, you're kind of screwed in a way, right? You're going to be left back and not be able to catch up. So I guess, Wooster, I guess, is this something that you guys prioritize, or how do you stay on top of it from a fund perspective, investor perspective?
I mean, I know there's a strong narrative between crypto and AI, but I think as an asset class, it is still, there has to be some of the amendments within the business models of how AI and crypto should be made. We're excited about how things are being integrated, and we're excited about people being incentivized through developing this open source LLM models and AI infrastructures. But when it comes to investment decisions on specific tokens, there has to be sort of a value accrual process for that. And it's also my personal opinion, where I think for a lot of AI crypto projects, I like the initiative and I like the spirit. But currently, there's one lacking part, which is the AI products creating revenues. And that, because it is missing, now the tokens are just being said as mere meme tokens that are constantly being printed out. But the intention is there for the development for the AI and crypto. So we're looking very close to how we can improve this space. We're also working with small and large institutions on how to make their product better with integration with LLM products. Okay. But yeah, so we're looking into a lot of different aspects and different sides, but genuinely excited about the integration.
I think it's kind of funny. You highlight the R word that normally people in blockchain don't like to talk about, which is revenue. But I think you're right. I mean, that's the direction in order for long-term sustainability, long-term growth, and really adoption. That's the proof point, right? But being here and seeing the vision. Every time I talk to Ilya, I always feel really, feel his passion and motivation and kind of what we're really talking about in terms of user-owned AI, right? The future where you control kind of your own data and have a decision in it. Right now, we're all scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, and they have all of our data, right? We're not paying for these services. They basically own us, and they know that. But now, if you actually see the next stage, if there's actually agents built on top of that data, it's mind-blowingly scary, right? And so what are your guys' thoughts in terms of, I guess, decentralization and how important and how to prioritize that, as well as the user-owned, user-controlled agents? This way you have a choice versus if we don't, then it's just like Terminator and Skynet.
Decentralization is extremely important. We've seen how centralized AI is essentially abusing the space right now and owning a lot of user data. I love the way Near AI puts it. So I think your mission statement is, the future is owned by the user, something like that. I can't remember. And I think that's key. If we're going to focus on security, if we're going to focus on privacy, if we're going to focus on allowing users to do with their data what they want, then we need to align the use cases as they evolve to the centralized model, which is, of course, the ethos of crypto. So my thoughts there really is just we need folks like yourself and other builders in the space to really drive creating these agents in a very decentralized and open source way.
So maybe click a little bit deeper. What do you think it takes to get there, right? I mean, where are we in that process, right? Because I think, obviously we know we're early, but I guess how close or what is needed, right? And the reason I bring this up is because I get really excited when I think about, our current cross-chain execution layer. We spent all last year, Near spent all last year really focusing on chain abstraction and chain signatures, and a lot of the team members here have really put in a lot of that effort to ensure that, you're able to work with different chains and really to take and remove that layer where chain now doesn't really matter anymore, right? And so to give you few examples, we're, utilizing chain signatures, able to really access prior other, I guess, chains and tokens that previously were not able to be swapped or worked with, such as, Ripple, Bitcoin, Zcash. On the first day of Bear Chain launching their token, we were able to integrate that within our Near intents as well, and able to do swaps. So I think that's what excites me in this point that, look, now we have this cross-chain execution layer that you're able to go from ideally, fiat to anything and then back to fiat, right? And thus able to go from the AI piece, the AI agent side, where at this point you can have and work with those agents to execute whatever you want it to execute, right? And takes that barrier away. And so I think that's kind of really the exciting piece. With that said, what types of AI projects or are you guys looking at? Are you excited about? I don't know, Wooster, if there's, especially from the investment side, that really jumps out at you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like we just look into the general crypto and AI sector overall. Not to mention any specific projects, but AI agents, how their framework is, how well is it being integrated to, to interact with smart contracts. And also, we're also looking into, something like open source, but with the sustainable incentive mechanisms inside. And I think there has to be multiple factors to play inside. Like in general, I think like decentralization of AI development is a must option to have and not an option. Because like if you think about social media, how the big tech has been maximizing their revenues and profits out of the algorithms has really changed how we interact with information. And just imagining how AI will change that, again, but in such a more private manner, kind of scares me. So I think while the big tech companies will continue to build their own AI models, I think decentralized open source projects should really be there to create an alternative for people to still benefit the technology and leave out the world. So we are doing doing a lot of thorough research on the framework, on the development of LLM models. But yeah, some of the specific projects, I think it's not quite safe to mention it to speed it out.
Okay, no, not a problem. Yeah, definitely wasn't hoping for someone to call out some specific projects, but I think you bring up a very interesting point of the change of efficiency and how things change, right? And I see that from multiple different points. An example would be how just compute, right? It was so much more expensive prior, and maybe it'll slowly go down and just be more of a commodity. When you see data storage, right? DA, I think that was a discussion point where before, is it all equal? Is it different? And I think, as it gets more improved and it's actually utilized, it gets more efficient because the demand's there. Thus, you either increase supply or you improve the supply to make it so that it's more efficient, right?
Yeah, I'm 100% biased here. I come from a finance background, so for me, it's all the use cases in finance, agentic FI, on building trading strategies, portfolio management, risk management. So a lot of those AI agents and have a better financial outcomes, however the entities or the enterprises define that, is really exciting for me.
So I mean, we only have about a minute left, and I'm trying to think. Typically institutional products don't get that much investment in terms of short, they're much longer term and maybe larger investment capital needed, right? I mean, what do you guys see, at least within, I would say this year, that's exciting that you would want to be created or, invested upon, right? What type of agents? Because in my mind, I think what we've seen thus far has just been very, social media related, or digging, or investments related, things like that. I guess, is there any specific vertical that jumps out that you think, I think there's going to be a lot of interest moving forward in that specific point? And this idea just jumped out at me, so I don't know if you guys have any views.
I think the closest touch point would be research, isn't it,
Yeah.
for institutions? It's just the easiest access, risk-free for now. Not sure about how AI agents will be integrated with the actual trading for institutions, since there should be a lot of verticals to be sorted out in terms of like custody or just the mechanics and the safety of the choices that they would make. But yeah, I think research translation, they're just the easiest bits for institutions to get involved.
I mean, the reason I brought that up also is the fact that I know we're really looking for a lot of, developers to really build out these agents. And we have like 50 verticals and use cases that each of them could actually be their own businesses, right? I think the problem that we're going to see is that a lot of these are not actually, the agent issue. It's more of the go-to-market and adoption, which just like it's not about chains being faster, it's actually what is it used for? Why should they use it, right? So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the core of BitGo's DNA is custody and security. So in light of recent events, we would probably want to explore how agents can help with earlier detection.
Risk
and
management,
risk,
right?
around, movements and changing some patterns or areas where we potentially could enhance our current offering to our clients today. But that's the only thing that immediately jumps to mind.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, I think our time is up, so really appreciate you guys being up here as well as everyone else for listening and hopefully enjoying our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.